Harry, what are you doing on the chair? Oh, oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Hello, Internet. Welcome back to my studio here on the Direct Action Gaming channel. Harry still has a habit of taking my chair as soon as I get up because it's warm. And it's just a good spot, I guess. Okay, so 2026. It is 2026 now, and I figured it is time for the anniversary video for this channel, I guess. I'm kind of thinking of doing one of these every year where I just sort of start the year with a little anniversary video where I basically just kind of talk about what I would like to do for this year. The projects that I have lined up that I would like to try and tackle for the year, stuff that I would like to paint, games that I would like to work on, so that I can eventually bring them to the table and the studio here, so that y'all can see some cool stuff. So here we are, 2026. I and the rest of us have made it another year. 2025 is finally over. It is well behind us, and things are better now, right? we'll let's focus on just the channel and the things we are going to do this year. Okay, so not that long ago, I made something of a list for uh, projects that I would like to work on realistically. This list does not encompass everything that I would eventually like to do, but it's a decent enough place to start with. So first and foremost, we got Grimdark Future from One Page Rules. So I've already put a video up on the channel for this game, and it's something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. Actually, One Page Rules. Ever since I heard about One Page Rules and uh, sort of what you can do with it, and 3D printing, and all of this, it was all just very new to me because wargaming as I had known it was just Warhammer 40k, and you just go to the store and you buy the incredibly overpriced, boxes of models, and and plus their rule books and all this other stuff, and you kind of just have to deal with that, right? Well, here's the thing. I'm I'm kind of poor, and I mean, I'm sure most of us here in America are not in a great shape financially for a lot of reasons that we will not dwell on at the moment. Uh, and that's kind of why I'm so excited about One Page Rules. Is they really do seem to be all about trying to make um, tabletop gaming in general, but like, I mean, mostly they focus on like wargaming, but on multiple scales, right? So Grimdark Future is sort of like the battle game. That's what I will sort of be focusing on first. But like, what's cool is their uh, their core rule system and their army lists can apply to pretty much all of their games. So like, Grimdark Future Army could be used for Grimdark Future, but also for Firefight, which is their skirmish mode, which we'll eventually be getting into. Also for Star Quest, which is sort of like this, I think, unique ish. I don't think Games Workshop does something like this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Harry. They might. They may have. I know Games Workshop has done a lot of stuff. I hope the tripod does not fall over. Um, yeah, so StarQuest, you just sort of take heroes from any army list, you turn them into like RPG-ish like characters, and then it gives you this simple system for like generating missions and campaigns for those heroes to go on as they rack up like experience points and gear, and upgrade their abilities, and yada yada. And it can be just as simple as like a dungeon crawler type thing, but they do have like narrative campaigns that try to make it a bit deeper and have more of a story going along with it. So Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I want to work on. I'm currently painting the Blood Brothers, which is basically the Blood Angels. That was kind of like the first army that I had when I got into Warhammer 40k a long time ago, and really that's just because like the starter set that I got for like the first 40k starter set was like Orcs Blood Angels. So I just kind of went with that. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm the Blood Angels, and uh, a bit of research has indicated that like Blood Angels are kind of the most popular chapter in 40k. I don't know. I'm sure everybody has their favorite. It doesn't matter. But look, the point is, I have a lot of stuff still, thankfully, lying around for the Blood Angels that I could turn into um, armies for one-page rules. Which, again, that's why I love one-page rules. You can use any model. You can use your old models. You can get models from anywhere. They even have paper armies that you can download that you can literally just print from like uh an inkjet printer and then just cut them out and sort of glue them together and boom, you've got an army, you've got some terrain. You don't have to spend a dime. Like it's technically a free war game. Now, I am going to be using like plastic miniatures because I do happen to have some. Working on the Blood Brothers first, kind of because like I would like to. I've already made like a what they call a StarQuest AI collection, so that I can have them be sort of like the bad guys for like a one-off mission for StarQuest to sort of try that out to see what that's all about. So that's coming up at some point once I get all that stuff painted up. So I've got like a small force of Blood Brothers. I'm gonna paint that. I'm almost done with that. Then 4 character models picked out for a plucky band of guerrilla type heroes to go up against the fashy Blood Brothers and whatnot. Um, and yeah, that should be kind of cool. I'll be working on the orcs next, so that we're going to be looking at skirmish and looking more at like just grimdark future battles. And I also have some old fantasy models lying around too, the Human Empire and orcs that I'm probably going to eventually get to as well someday, hopefully to dip into Age of Fantasy because yes, One Page Rules does the fantasy stuff as well, sci-fi, fantasy, and they also have a fantasy quest, which means you can do the RPG light type thing with that as well. So lots of stuff to eventually work on and make and do some cool stuff with that. So Grimdark Future, definitely going to be doing a lot more work on that this year. Probably the most of the work that I do will be on that, like in between other projects. When it comes to other projects, I do have plenty of other things to work on that I can show y'all. So I got this a while ago off of eBay, I believe. I still haven't actually played it, but I would like to because this is an old favorite of mine, XCOM. I played multiple XCOM games, both on the PC and the console, and I guess I was just always a fan of like the sort of turn-based squad type of shooty, get the aliens type thing, I guess. Although now that I'm an adult and I'm a big lefty, I can't help but wonder, um, is this problematic, you might say, right? Um, is this kind of fashy a little bit? I don't know. It's It'll hopefully be a fun game. The only thing that I see that might be wrong here is all of the rules are contained within like an app that has to be downloaded from the Play Store. And in my experience so far, sometimes this can be great, but other times, if the company obviously just abandons the app and doesn't exist anymore, well, now you're SOL, right? again, all of the rules and everything needed to kind of play the game are within this app. So, last time I checked, the app does still work. So, and I don't know, even if it doesn't, hopefully somebody somewhere on the internet has made some PDFs that will have the rules required to like play this little game. But other than all that, it seems like a neat little co-op game because it's basically like XCOM, but it's cooperative. So like you can play it solo, but you can also do it cooperatively insofar as like um, one person will take one type of role. So like somebody would head up research or something, and somebody else takes care of like the interceptors and the combat teams or whatever, and all that jazz. So yeah, that might be pretty cool. So we're gonna check this out at some point. Also, here's another thing that I got off of eBay. This was a great deal too. I got Wolfenstein, and unbeknownst to me, this wasn't just like the core box. I bought this, I think, for like 60 something dollars on eBay, and I ended up getting like the person selling it put all of the expansion stuff in here. So I have like every gosh darn thing that I can eventually paint up. So like all the enemies, all the player characters, just everything. Mecha Hitler, otherwise known as Grok, perhaps, and just all kinds of cool stuff in here. I think there's even like um, elements of the board are like 3D and can potentially be painted as well. So this should be a neat thing to dive into at some point. So we're gonna get to this eventually. And oh boy, there's a lot in this one. This one is, I think, going to be the last. We're going to talk about this other thing a little bit first. Robinson Crusoe. Now, here's something that I just kind of happened upon when I was just sort of curious at work, and I was looking into like what are some really good cooperative games to play, because I primarily like cooperative games. Obviously, I like playing solo games on the channel here because that's the easiest sort of stuff to make. Like I can just set it up and play it here in the studio. But hey, in real life, I love playing cooperative games with my friends, with my comrades over at the DSA and whatnot. So cooperative games are dope. I like that idea of like actually working together with other people to share resources and try to achieve a common goal rather than like some cutthroat game of King of the Hill or something like that, right? So this, when I was searching for really cool co-op games, came up, and I read a really good review that kind of convinced me that yeah, I should just buy this because apparently this is supposed to be a very in-depth narrative based type of I think they even called it like theatrical, and or like there's just a lot of really cool stuff in this box that will like really um, have an in-depth vibrant sort of world that you can explore and play and live and try to survive in and whatnot. So yeah, this should be cool to check out at some point. It is solo slash cooperative. I did get the collector's edition with miniatures, so there are some miniatures to paint with this as well. So this is why it's a project that I am talking about. We're gonna paint this stuff up, make it look nice. Okay, so the final one, Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I have spent a lot more money than I probably should have recently on like getting a bunch of stuff, both for this and for the role-playing game version of like Fallout tabletop type stuff. I don't know if the role-playing game is going to show up on this channel per se, because I'm not sure. I don't know if that can really be done in like a solo kind of way. Like I might be able to like film sessions with other people at some point, perhaps. But for the moment, like this is definitely a possibility. Once I can get around to this, this is just really really neat. I haven't even played this game at all yet, but I just had to get all the things. I obviously don't have all the things. I mean, I really just I have models for the 3 core factions that come in the core box. I got a bunch of stuff for like survivors, which is just like, you know, survivors is sort of like a catch-all term for like just people in the wasteland, like just any people that aren't like Brotherhood of Steel. Brotherhood of Steel is another faction, and Super Mutants. So those are like the first 3 factions that were kind of like released. There are a bunch of other factions, so like basically every other Fallout faction that you can imagine if you are a fan of Fallout. And yeah, there is a surprising amount of depth to this game because it has been out for a while. There are a lot of expansions for it. This book that I held up recently was the Capital Wasteland expansion. So this would add in unique Brotherhood characters and also the Enclave and some other things as well. I forget exactly everything that does come with Capital Wasteland, but like each expansion will add in like new characters, new models, new factions, new rules and things like that. So I got that, New Vegas, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I will eventually be getting models to represent all things, and then there are other like just completely rules based expansions, such as like Into the Wasteland and the Settlement expansion that will like expand like what you can do with the game. So it's just really interesting that like it's like in theory it's like a skirmish based warband type game, but it's more than that, right? Like it's Fallout, so they try to really bring the Fallout world to life in such a way that you can like explore it and build like your own unique sort of like cast of characters and have your own like settlement and go on your own adventures and on and on and on. So it can be as simple as you want. Just just do like one-off little sort of skirmish missions with your friends and whatnot. But apparently you can also get all RPG-ish and go on like full-on campaigns that may be like linked one after the other, where you've just got like a recurring cast of characters and a settlement that you're slowly building up over time and all that. So there might be all sorts of really interesting things that I can eventually do with this game. I guess I'm also planning on. I got a whole bunch of terrain recently. I put this on the list too. Got a whole bunch of cool stuff to add to the table that can represent. Right now, I'm knocking everything over. I also got this. This should be cool. There's like a neoprene sort of battle mat that should probably work for either one-page rules Grimdark Future or Wasteland Warfare, because it's basically just like urban apocalypse type thing, like just like a urban battlefield with like a bunch of rubble and stuff all over the place. So this is pretty cool, and it's like I think a 3x3, so it more or less fits my little gaming table here. So this should be good for like small scale battles, skirmishes, and whatnot. I've mentioned this before, but I'm probably gonna mention it again. If I want to do like big battles and whatnot, I'm probably going to need to get some like bigger like maybe a couple of 2x6 tables. I'm sort of thinking at some point. But for the moment, we've got this little table here that should work okay for like small scale battles, skirmish type stuff, Star Quest missions, and all that good stuff. With the terrain, like I said, I got a whole bunch of stuff. There's like this just came in today. I actually have these like ruined Tau battle suits that I can include on the battlefield and paint up. Whole bunch of sandbag fortifications. Got all that stuff. These came in a while ago. Like I have a whole bunch of these, like these just sort of ready-made, sort of like urban ruin type walls and whatnot that I can just sort of scatter all over the place. And there should be some junk barricades in here as well, which would definitely be fitting for like a Fallout type vibe, I guess. I also definitely want to get some Fallout specific like terrain, like maybe like a diner type thing or something, or that kind of deal. Something that looks like it comes from like the world of Fallout. So for the moment, we have some like generic stuff that could just be like any kind of ruined city type war zone. We have these specific Tau battle suits that would definitely be. Although, with regards to one-page rules, it's called the DAO Union, DAO Union. Well, honestly, what's kind of interesting, one-page rules definitely started. A lot of people are critical of it because they say it's basically just like a Games Workshop knockoff, and they just sort of take all of Games Workshop's ideas and just change them slightly, and then they try to suggest that it's lazy and dumb or something like that. And if you just look at the names like DAO Union, I guess, but I've read the lore, and they've made a what I would like to think a good attempt at sort of distinguishing themselves from themselves and their universe that they're trying to make from whatever Games Workshop tried to make. So it's similar-ish, but they've gone in a different direction. It has a different vibe to it. It's I feel it's just better and somewhat more realistic, and it has the potential, I think, to tell better stories and whatnot. That's just my opinion, at least, anyway. And also, when it comes to the DAO Union, it kind of feels like One Page Rules decided to take like the Tau from Games Workshop's Warhammer 40k and sort of split it in two, if that makes sense. Like, because you've got like the DAO Union, which is like this sort of high tech version of what the Tau eventually became. And then they also have the Eternal Dynasty, which is sort of like this older version of what the Tau used to be, and or like these like warring clans that only just recently came together, and there's still like this like old school Japan, like Shogun era type vibe to all their units. Like it's still sci-fi, so they still have all this high tech type stuff, but like instead of like battle suits, they have like these Oni robots. They have like ninjas with like Gatling guns and all this really weird zany stuff and whatnot. So Eternal Dynasty might be interesting to get into. It's kind of like one of the flagship armies that they're like. In fact, that's what you can see on the cover of their advanced rulebook. This is Eternal Dynasty here. Zoom in. I was talking to somebody recently, showing them their stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the Tau." No, not really. It's the Eternal Dynasty. It looks Tau-ish, but definitely looks more like some Shogun Ronin era type armor and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, so this year, lots of cool stuff to work on. What's going to come up the pipe very recently? Well, I've got Zombicide stuff right behind me. I'm going to do a Zombicide episode very soon. Primarily because, like, the Grimdark Future one-page rules video that I did not too long ago, most of the models that I included in that, like, just not painted. I didn't have that battle mat either. It was just very sort of spur of the moment, like, just whatever, let's play a game kind of deal. And that was fine. People seemed to like that. So, yeah. Turns out, no, your models don't need to be perfect to just play the game. And that's supposed to be the vibe of this channel anyway. It's like, let's just play a game. Let's have some fun, right? So, sure, I would like my Zombicide models to look flawless, and I would like to repaint them to make them look better. And primarily what I'm worried about is I want to, like, have a good enough paint job so that I can then say, all right, it's done, and then I can spray them with varnish. Because, wow, pro tip, if you haven't really done many miniatures games, you want to look into varnish as a final step. If you really, or rather, I should say, if you really do like that game, if you really intend to, like, use those miniatures as game pieces, you're going to want to protect that paint job that you spent all that time on. Once you do that varnish right, it's just set in stone practically. Like, you just don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, I would like to varnish my Zombicide stuff, but until I completely finish that, whatever, I'm gonna keep going with the playlist because, hey, we're about to do mission 13, Burning Streets, and so I'm not even halfway done with, like, what I originally set out to do. Like, that was the first game that I tried on this channel was Zombicide 2nd Edition, and I wanted to work my way through, like, the missions from the core set. But of course, you know, I've got, like, big time ADHD, so I've been just jumping all over the place. But I want to try to finish what I started with Zombicide 2nd Edition, and I still have all sorts of other campaigns and other versions of Zombicide to eventually get into. So, yeah, we're just gonna go do Zombicide again. So why the fuck not? You know, let's have a good time. Just check that out. So, expect that soon, and expect more of all this other stuff at some point. I do have a Blue Sky account that is in the About section that. If you want to see my progress on some of these things where I'm painting the minis, you can go check that out there. So, yeah, and in theory, there's a donation site that, like, you can go to if you want, I guess. I don't want to make a big deal out of that. Whatever. So, yeah. Happy New Year, I guess, even though it's almost February now. But, we will see how much of this I can get done by the end of this year, and then I will just make another video next year of the stuff I want to try to focus on then, because I still have a lot of other stuff lying around here that I haven't gotten to yet, that and other stuff that I would like to get that I want to dive into and show y'all and just mess around with, try to make some stories with some games, create some worlds on the tabletop. Take it easy, take care of each other, and I'm gonna see y'all when I see you.